And we're recording. Get in my chair here. Get some of the static out. It doesn't pick up in the audio, but it picks up when you
your
earphones.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Today I got my buddy Brent. We're actually there was a time we hung out every day almost.
It was every day.
Yeah. So he said I gave him a message earlier the week. He said he'd come on. So how's it going?
Not too bad, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
Right on.
You're doing a YouTube channel as well, a family with your daughters?
Yep.
I haven't seen Joyce in any of those.
She likes to hide.
I was thinking today about when you guys were getting married.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I was also thinking today about when you... Holy cow. Sorry, sound dysfunction there. I was actually thinking today about when you took her on her first date, and I wanted you to share the story because it's a good one. It's a good first date.
First date, eh?
Mm-hmm.
We talking about four-way?
Yeah. Or how long?
Because the first date was when we actually just went and had coffee.
Okay, so you went and had coffee. How long after was it before you took her bungee jumping?
Third date.
Third date.
Yep.
Yeah.
We went on our second date out in, where was that? Couch River, out at Forestry Pools.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then we were talking and just getting to know each other a bit. And I said I'd always wanted to do it. She said she always wanted to do it. So I said, heck, we got next weekend off. Let's go do it.
Huh?
And she just looked at me like, crap.
Oh, now I'm doing it.
Now I'm doing it. But she was excited. We went out on our third date. Took her out to at that time, I think it was the bungee zone at that time.
Yeah, the one towards the Nanaimo there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I did too.
I don't know what it's called now.
Wild Play?
Wild Play, yeah.
Wild Play.
They've got all that other stuff there now.
It's cool, that other all the walking and the netting and stuff, and there's like different tiers of hardness, like so
Yep.
you can be lower, and then as it gets harder you go
Yep.
higher, and
Yep.
then you fall more.
Yeah, I've had a few of those.
Yeah, it's fun. I like it. I like the Wild Play.
It's awesome.
Who went first on that bungee jump?
I did.
You did? Yeah.
I did.
What,
I had to think about that.
Do you
That's
think
10 years ago.
Yeah,
No,
10 years.
12 years ago.
You guys have been married for 10 years.
No, we've been married 11 years.
11 years.
It'll be 12 years coming up in May.
I remember that the photographer at your wedding wanted me to take my Jeep. Do you remember with the
I
top
saw
off?
you, yep.
Yeah.
It started raining.
And it poured, and I'm in my tuxedo on your way to the wedding. Poured down.
Yeah.
But by the time we got to the wedding and stuff, it had stopped raining. We had the ceremony, did the wedding photos, and then took the party inside, and then it downpoured
Yep.
the rest of the night.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys had a perfect little window to take those photos.
It literally was like a 2-hour span.
Yeah, and that's how long those photos took. I remember waiting for the...
Oh, I remember too. We're sitting there like, can't we just go have some drinks and eat our dinner and go enjoy ourselves?
Yeah, but
it's good.
It's nice to have those photos now, though.
Oh, it totally is.
Yeah, it's a couple hours, and then...
I look back on it now, and I remember the night before when we went out in Ladysmith.
Yeah, we went up... did we go in the Toyota or in the Jeep?
Jeep.
Yeah, we went up in the Jeep to
Had
go
a little
ranching.
fire. Then walked to town like I used to back in my old
we did
days,
walk to
drinking
town.
beers.
Did I stay the night at your place?
Yeah, we stayed at my parents.
Yeah.
Because we've been drinking, so we didn't want to drive anywhere, so
anywhere.
we stayed at my parents. Good times.
Yeah, that was good times. Man, I forgot that we walked to town. We were up till like 3 a.m. or something like that.
And somewhere around there. Got up at like 6.
Yeah, got up early. Yeah, I forgot.
It was a lot of fun.
Walk down. That was a good time. Like those days. Where was that little lake? Remember me and you? You took the Yoda. I took the Jeep. We both took the dogs. There was that little tiny lake.
Yeah.
We camped out.
I think it's called Salamander Lake. A lot of people call it different names. Like I know it has 3 different names.
Yeah.
I've always called it Salamander Lake.
Was that towards Renfrew?
No, it's Ladysmith.
Ladysmith.
We were up back behind Ladysmith about 10 minutes before the turnoff to the company dam.
Yeah.
We went up to the company dam that night too.
Yes, we
We
did.
had to go get wood.
Yeah, and we had a little fire.
I remember you started up your chainsaw. I'm like, it's pitch black and we can't see nothing, right?
I had the chainsaw going.
Sparks flying.
Yeah. Hitting rocks and stuff because I couldn't see anything. Yeah.
It was good times.
We had to get a fire going, man.
I know. I didn't even have a starter for the truck. I had the roll start it, remember?
Oh, yeah. We had to park it on a hill.
I'm like, I hope it goes.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Those are good times, and those cars that, were barely reliable, but somehow always worked.
It's funny how it's my favorite vehicle still to this day.
The Yoda, hey?
The 87 Yoda.
The 87. Man, I like a lot of the Jeeps that are out right now. Jeep Gladiator is sweet.
My sister's just got in a Jeep. I'm not sure what full type it is. It's 2-door.
Is it?
Yeah, it's about
10
years, 5 years old, something like that.
Rubicon's the way to go when it comes to that. I had a Sierra. I don't even remember what year it was.
The gray one?
Yeah, it was like that gray. Oh, it was a military-ish green. It was slightly more green than the gray of your shirt, if that makes any sense.
I'm trying to remember. Like, we're going back.
Long time ago.
We're not old. Okay, we're old.
Well, I'm not old. How old was I when that happened?
In your younger 20s?
Yeah.
I would have been in my older 20s at the time.
Because we bought a house around the same time. Me and Melissa bought that house. I was 19.
Yep.
How old are you? So
I would have been 27.
Yeah.
26.
Yeah, that turned out to be a huge gong show in my life. Buying a house at 19 was probably a mistake. Should probably jumping the gun a little bit there.
Yeah, it's a good way to put yourself in the next 20 years of debt.
Yeah. Well, somehow I snaked my way out of it, I guess. Depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah, but I remember buying the house. Did you buy yours first and we were right after? And we would just...
It was so close. Yeah. I don't remember. I know it was like within months of each other that we bought our houses. Mm-hmm. And we could actually walk to each other's houses through the trail.
Yeah. I remember we always talked about doing it more often, but never did it. You had a baby at that time, though, and I didn't, yeah. Right? You had the baby just after you moved in? Just before you moved into your home?
Just before. Yeah, because we bought after. I remember you coming with me to the hospital because you stayed the night.
Yeah, because
that was fun.
We were getting drunk, and then your wife was being induced.
Yep.
So someone else dropped her off at the hospital. We met her there, and I dropped her off. I remember we pulled another all nighter or something. I went home and went to bed.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah.
It was actually when you messaged me, I got thinking about all the times we decided we were going to go do something stupid. And here you are. We're all in your Jeep. My wife is 8.5 months pregnant at the time.
Like full pregnant because she's short.
Yeah.
And her belly was like giant.
What do we decide to do? Take the Jeep in the mud.
Yeah. And it was like deep. And then the Jeep was like stock everything. Make it.
You were so stuck. I remember getting out. We're all sitting there looking about how we're going to get this thing out. We didn't have another vehicle around. So we're like, well, why don't you just try and crank your wheel and give her? And my wife's standing there. I'm just watching the mud go up into the air, and she's running directly at me. And I'm like, to the side. She just keeps running back to me, and I move over to the side, and she was caved in mud.
Smoked her with that rooster tail, like right up the middle. And she was wearing, I think she was wearing like white pants or white shorts and like a pink top and like huge baby belly trying to outrun the mud. I just nailed her.
I just like, oh man.
I have to give it to Joyce, man. She does everything with a smile. Like she like all those times when she could have just lost it, like soaking her with mud, and then you guys had to walk back to your place.
Yep.
Which was like a 20-minute walk. She's 8 months pregnant. Somehow she didn't go into labor during all this.
Nope.
Still had to be induced after all this. And then she didn't get upset even one iota, man. Like,
no, we drove down. And then pretty sure it was your dad tied it tied your Jeep to my bumper.
It was to the bumper, and then it pulled it to
Bent my bumper.
the bumper, and I was like, I think you guys are supposed to be facing me the other way.
I think you're supposed to wrap this around the frame, not so much the middle of a bumper.
Yeah, that was funny.
Aluminum bumper.
I think that was the case, and then we ended up having to hand dig it out. The Jeep was just floating there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was stuck. It was high centered on the hard stuff. And I'm just sitting there looking at it like, you motherfucker.
It's so funny.
Bent my bumper of my 87 Toyota, and it was my favorite truck.
And
that thing was falling apart.
Yeah. Well, same with that Jeep. Well, at the time the Jeep wasn't, but by the time I was done rolling it, it was falling apart.
Oh, by the time you rolled it, I remember getting the phone call at 3:34 in the morning.
Yeah.
I rolled my Jeep, man. Do you need me to come get you? Oh no, I'm fine.
I just needed someone to get my Jeepies out to.
I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, what happened is that it was a steep hill, but the part that was tough was that it was like a powdery, dry, dusty. It wasn't like so much a gravel road as it was a dirt road, and the dirt was really fluffy.
Yeah.
And I decided I could make it up at 2 a.m. or 1:30 in the morning, that I could make it up without putting it in 4-wheel drive. But it was like more than a 45-degree angle, and I just gunned it, and all you hear is snap, 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 snap. And what happened is that the transmission bolts had all snapped for the front not transmission, for the front drive shaft, and the whole front drive shaft had just fell out. And we were only in 2-wheel drive, front wheel drive, and it had snapped, and we started rolling back, and I couldn't catch it. And then the hill was the road went up on a steep angle, but on the side of it banked even steeper into the woods. And I had this huge guy with me, and I didn't know him. I was just giving a lift out of the woods. And we rolled like 4 or 5 times, and
Oops.
I didn't know any of the guys there or nothing. Oops.
Hey guys.
Yeah, that guy went to the hospital. He was all scared. He was fine though. The Jeep caught on fire. The whole front windshield smashed into the passenger's seat. We had the soft top on. Luckily, I didn't take Lola.
Yeah,
So-
no, that was actually really good because Lola's so small. She would have went flying.
Yeah. And we were, like, I was giving it hardcore ups, and so, like, our momentum kind of fed us in reverse down. Like, it was like, and we started flying down, and it's dark, can't see anything. We're on a steep hill, and it caught, like, the ruts, when people
Yep.
do, and then you can't kind of get out of it, and it just caught and pulled us off the bank. Good times.
Don't go in the woods with Landon.
Right. So let me explain the
Joking.
Landon thing, because I go by Dirk now because my wife. So my first name is Dirk, and I went by Landon as my alias for years.
That's how I knew him.
So sometimes you're going to find people on here that call me Landon, and sometimes people call me Dirk.
My bad.
No worries. No, call Landon, Dirk, whatever fits.
All
it.
these years I've known you, I had no idea your first name was Dirk.
I know. I kept it a deep secret. I actually had like childhood anxiety about it.
Why?
Well, constantly moving and going to a new school, I had a bit of a lisp as a kid. And when I said Dirk, people never really picked up on it.
Yeah.
And then, like, the adults, when they did pick up on it, were like, Dirk Diggler from...
Oh, yeah.
that movie.
Yeah, I got you.
And so it was, like, the constant same joke. But most of the time, it was just other kids, me not being able to pronounce... I, like, rolled my R's really hard younger. And we moved so often. It was like every 2 years I went to a new school and had to do the same old game with my name again. And then people always came up with weird, dorky nicknames. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to go by Landon now. And
Hey, man, my last name's Fowler. You can only imagine as a kid how that all goes.
yeah. I mean, that's part of being a kid. And if I had stayed at one school, it would have, like, past its time, and I would have just got over it, but I just moved so much and had to reintroduce so many times that by the time I got here, I'm like, I can't do this again. So I went by Landon. I went by Landon when I lived in California as well. So actually, that's when I decided to go by Landon, and it became so easy that when I moved here, I went by land.
I forgot you lived in California.
In Ontario.
California's not doing so well right now.
It's on fire, man, and we can see it here.
Yeah, man.
Smoggy out there today.
My throat hurts because of it. Like, it's just flipping thick out there.
It's bad, man. We got my two brothers showed up this morning at 6:30 to go for a run because this loops around. You go into the woods and it loops around. So we decided to go for a run, and we couldn't even finish it. Our throats were hurting, and I was going to do all this stuff today. I do nothing because it's so...
It's gross out there, man.
You would think it was a fog, but it's the smoke.
This is what I did today. I'll show you.
Pulling out some videos.
Photo and a video. I just got to remember which way to go. Oh, there we go. If you can tell me where this is, you've got a good memory.
Oh, buddy, I saw your video.
Damn it.
What was the... You had two names for it, but I can't remember the...
Some people call it Riggins Pool, and other people call it
Reagan's
Reagan's Pool.
Yeah, however you pronounce it.
So
we went there once or twice.
Once, that's the time your distributor cap got soaked in wet. We couldn't start her up again.
Yeah, another Dirk in the Woods stories. We decided to go a little off road in the Jeep, but just the Jeep, just me and you, and it was just getting dark as we left. I think it was
dusk.
Yeah, it was later in the rainy season, and by the time we got there, it was like getting dark.
Yep.
And we went through these huge puddles, and that was all fine. And nothing was happening. The real problem was when we turned the engine off. And I don't remember why we did that, just to explore maybe.
Yeah, we got out to go walk around the pool and stuff.
Yeah, and then by the time we got back to the car, it was dark. And we went to go turn the Jeep on, and it wouldn't start because we went through the huge puddles and water would splash up in the distributor cap.
Yep.
And then I remember we had to get Melissa to drive out my tools. So we were there late. We had to pull the distributor cap without moving anything, dry off the little metal connectors on the inside of the distributor cap so that the spark would fire. But it worked.
Yep.
I remember I called the guy, my buddy, and I was like, what do you think? He was a big 4x4 guy, and that was his suggestion.
Yep.
And yeah, so at least we got out of there, but it was another late night in the woods.
I was sitting in the bush for another hour and a half waiting for somebody to show up with tools.
Yeah. We didn't bring tools. I don't think we bought even a shovel.
Nope.
I was never prepared. Never a dull moment.
I don't think we were ever prepared for anything.
No, I feel like I get more prepared now when I go out. Actually, I'm not prepared. When I go hunting, I hunt a lot of the time on my own. I got my bow up there, and I go hunting a lot, and it's on my own with no GPS device, location device, and I go where there's no service, so nobody can get a hold of me, and I'm going after black bear on my own with a bow with no rifle or nothing because I don't have my pal. So I got to make some changes to that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because I just had a family member was mauled by a grizzly just last night, so it's got me thinking. Yeah.
Is that the guy there's a guy that just got mauled, where was that?
Yeah,
Pemberton.
That's the one. Yeah, it's my brother-in-law.
I didn't know that.
That's his story. Yeah, I'm not trying to tell too many people, but now everybody knows. But that's kind of their story to tell. And I haven't seen him or nothing, but man, lucky break on that. Holy scary. Anyway, so that's got me thinking man, I should probably be taking a GPS, maybe have a friend or something like that, tell my wife where I'm going. The problem with telling someone where you're going, especially when you're me and you're doing the hunting thing, is that I move.
Yep.
As soon as I find an interesting location, I'm like, I'll go over there. Oh, there's an even more interesting.
Oh, look, go over there. I'm already 10 kilometers off of where I said I'd be.
Yeah, it's easy to just get off my path. So.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Anyways, I'm not prepared to be doing the solo hunt things now that I really sat down and thought about it. So I'm gonna get myself a GPS of some type where I can be in contact with Sam and also hit an SOS button. Yeah. The last season.
Always be safe, man.
Yeah,
especially when out there.
I'm pretty foolish not being prepared, and just I have an instinct to do things on the whim. Like once you get like the feeling to do it,
Yep.
it's really hard not to do it.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
My dad took me to Reagan's Pool, same place. This was when we were kids. I was probably about 5 years old. I don't really remember it per se, so I go off what my dad always tells me, but he was telling me about, we walked in from where the Husky used to be. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was still the Husky when we went there.
When we went there.
We parked at the Husky because it was a car. We walked in, and there's parts of that trail, as you probably know, that are very sandy. Walked in, no tracks, no nothing, just us. We get to the pool. We're wandering around the pool for a half hour. On our way out, what do you know? Here, right along the side of my footprints and my dad's footprints, is cat prints.
Oh, man. Cats are the scariest.
Big cat prints. So we're sitting here going, well, this is eerie.
Follows right in after you, eh?
Well, you know when you're standing there and you get that really eerie feeling, like you feel a presence, but you don't really see anything?
I feel that eyes on you type thing, yeah.
That was the feeling my dad had the whole time he said he was there. And there was me, my dad, my sisters, like there's a bunch of us, but on our way out, the prints kind of did like a U-turn, because when you get to the pool, the road sits quite a bit higher up, and all of a sudden you see the print stop, do a U-turn, and then they go back up the road and then off into the bush. So he obviously heard us coming and then darts it off into the bush.
Man, cats are the scariest ones because they're so stealthy.
Yep.
And they get so close to you, and when they're determined. There was a guy on Facebook on Vancouver Island, a hunter. I'm part of these hunting groups, and maybe it was just on the interior, either Vancouver Island, BC, somewhere. They had an encounter with a cougar. They were in a hunting blind. They were bow hunting. Same deal. I don't think he had a rifle, and the cat, he could see it. It was close, and he was yelling at it, trying to get it scared. Didn't do anything. He fired some arrows at it, didn't run away. Fired some more arrows and didn't run away. Then he was out of arrows, so he was like, and then the cat started moving closer in on him, and you don't see it in his video. He says it comes at him and darts away, which I don't have a reason not to believe him. But man, cats are the scariest.
They're scary, man. You don't know what they're gonna do.
No, and bears like black bears,
pretty simple. They
normally run. Like last year, spring, I was up way past Nitnat, high up on a real old logging road. And so we drive into an area, park the vehicle, decide to go on foot. We walk down this road, nothing, and we're chatting just like me and you, this other hunter. We were kind of like ready to call it a day, so we weren't being all stealthy or nothing. And on our way back up, a huge black bear, biggest black bear I ever seen. And so I'm like, okay, we're gonna do it. I get my arrow knocked, I put the stock in. I started off at about 70 yards and I closed it to about 40 yards, which is, I wanted to be 40 to 35 yards, which is close when you are near a bear.
Yep.
But he was head facing away from me, butt facing towards me, and so you need him to be broadside. So we're like waiting to get broadside, and I'm directly behind him on the far side of the road, and I decide, if I cross to the other side of the road and move up just a little bit, maybe get into like 35 to 25 yard range, I could get a cornered broadside side shot. And so that was my thinking. But they don't even see you. They just head up, bolts right off. They don't look back at you, nothing. Like, big old bear could have just mauled me in seconds, right? Whatever. But it just runs off, man. Most of the time, bears just run off.
I've had close encounters with bears. I remember we were in the apple orchards, ironically, right behind Reagan's Pool. Me and a couple buddies were picking apples, because what else do you do in the later summer? We're kids, nothing else to do, so we're picking apples and just kind of hanging out. And I'm sitting there talking to my buddy. I'm standing on a ladder pulling some apples out, and I look over. It's not my buddy.
Whoa.
It's a black bear
Jeepers.
from 10, 15 feet away, standing on all twos, pulling apples off of a tree. And then my buddy Justin goes, "Hey, who you talking to?"
Like just Yogi over here.
We're just like, oh. Good times.
Yeah. Bears, like, if they're distracted by other food sources, you can get pretty close. You see those videos of guys up Alaska, and the salmon are running and the bears don't care.
I am not one of those guys to just approach a bear, just so everybody knows this.
Me neither, unless it's on the stalk. But I fear the thought of a cougar more than a bear.
Me too.
They're so stealthy, so scary, and we have a lot of them here in Vancouver.
They're curious.
Yeah, they're curious.
Apparently, it got announced we are with the highest population of mountain lion.
Yes.
On the island.
On the island, yeah. And
I was just reading about it.
Within the Cowichan Valley is, I think, the most dense per kilometer. That's the neighbor. They're pulling in this big truck. They have an emu farm over there.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they have like 400 emus.
Holy Jesus.
Yeah.
No, like I've ran into several bears and they've always bolted. I think I've only had one encounter where me and my buddy Chris, Chris, we're up on Ladysmith side. We're about 8 Mile out. We're just past the splicing sheds, or just at the splicing sheds. We pulled over to, crack open a beer and start your day out in the woods, and Chris looks over into the thicket and is like, "Hey, look over there." So we're both watching this thing for a good 5 minutes. And then my buddy Chris is a hunter too, right? So
yeah. He's a keep his cool kind of guy. Yeah.
So we're just hanging out, sitting on the back of this quad, sitting there watching this bear in the thicket, eating whatever he's eating over there. And all of a sudden, Chris is like, "Hey, should I call it?" And we're like, "Why not? Let's just do it." So he starts calling at this bear, and all of a sudden you see this bear. And it's the only time I've ever had this experience in the woods, but all of a sudden you just see the branches and everything stop. And then all of a sudden you hear this grunt noise, and all of a sudden you hear snap, snap. So obviously it's dropping down the fours, and all of a sudden you just see branches snapping and coming right at us. And we're like, Chris, like, get on the quad right now. And as he started pulling away, we got about 20 feet up the road, and we turn around and he's standing right where we were. We're like,
well, if it's a kill, like a bear, black bear, grizzly bear, they fight to save any food source like that they have, like a meat source. They normally bury it, right? So they kill it, they bury it, they come back and eat it when it's kind of fermented a little bit.
Yep.
So it's probably got something like that going on.
We're sitting there like
it's a bunch of some kids in the wood, eh?
Woo! But yeah, no, it's the only time I've ever had a bad I wouldn't even call it a bad experience, really. We were stupid. He's grunting at it like we kind of
brought it upon yourselves, and you were out there
kind of, yeah.
Is he still doing the fish guiding and stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, I think as far as I know, I think he's still out on the West Coast doing that right now.
Does he still? He was living on Somenos before. Is he still there? I drive down there.
No, not Somenos anymore. He moved. I don't know what the name of the road is, but it's over by Walmart.
All right. Yeah, that's I was just going down that Somenos road, and there was a big black bear probably 3 weeks ago. It's all no hunting there, right? No hunting on any sides of Prevost.
Yep.
But I really need to dial in about Sicker, because we're a Sicker. It's not Prevost. And there's big Sicker and little Sicker. You can hop across the river here at Copper Canyon, and it's free game for hunting, right? But I've had mixed comments on Sicker about the regulations, and I haven't hunted it, but I live at the foot of Sicker here, so I really need to dial in on that. But we have all this farmland and stuff, and there's some nice bucks that walk around here, and I'd love to get permission, but farmers get a little overprotective with hunters, and rightfully so. They've had people shoot into their cattle, and they had, when we moved into this place here, they were telling me, the guy down the road was telling me that kids used to just come and fire off the side of the road with rifles and bows, which is illegal and dangerous. You don't know what's there, but that section of wood across the street, it's thick, but it actually has fields and cattle and stuff on the other side of it, and if you're shooting a fly could fly through.
Easily, yeah.
And they were shooting, I guess they were shooting bow so he would find his cows. You know, there's these kids that they get these compound bows and they get the field tips, which are not hunting tips, they're target tips. And they shoot things with them like ducks or geese or cows or elk or whatever. And I don't know what they're thinking, but a field tip, it's not going to kill them for one. And they're just being, you know, when certain age kids or certain people with certain mindset get a tool like that in their hands, a bow or gun or whatever, they think of themselves as godly. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they can make those decisions, and then they do, and it's bad for everybody.
Oh, yeah. That's why they've locked up Ladysmith side.
Yeah, Ladysmith's all locked up, eh?
Yeah, they locked it because of vandalism to the logging companies' vehicles and stuff out there.
Right. You know, there's a real hard thing right now between the gates that they're putting up on logging roads and whether or not people should have access to areas. Everywhere right now is getting gated up. And there's big controversy. I'm part of a few groups. People hate it, but then, you know, there's people, like what you said, vandalizing equipment or insurance reasons that they can't just allow people to go on there. And then Monday to Friday, they're running trucks. So if you don't have a radio on the right frequency and you don't hear one of those logging trucks coming down and you're going up, they can't stop. And if you can't get out of the way, because here in Vancouver Island, it's logging road and cliff edge, like straight down. If you can't get out of the way and they can't stop, you're putting everybody at risk. So
pretty much.
But then it's like, but do we have a right to have access to the backcountry of Vancouver Island?
So my thoughts and pondering of this is very simple. Am I outraged? Yes. Why am I outraged? Because I'm not one of those stupid little people that like to go vandalizing and doing stupid stuff.
Dump garbage. That's a big one.
I hate dumping. Recycle, reuse, do whatever you have to do. It pisses me off when you're driving down the bush. Like, you see dump loads on sides and you're like, that would have cost you $5 just to take to a dump.
So cheap. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just take it to the dump?
Yeah.
Don't be a fucking cheap ass.
You spent the amount of fuel to get it to that location that you would have spent just taking it to the dump. And lots of things, like when you see refrigerators and stoves, that's all free.
I know. It's not. You even get rebates on some of the stuff now. Like, you even get money back for returning the stuff. Like,
dumping is a little
use your heads.
Yeah. Don't dump.
Don't dump. So, yeah. No, I've got mixed feelings because I get the purpose of it. But I also think, like, maybe we should come up with something where, like, you have to have, I don't know, permission and you get granted keys. Yeah,
there was a program I was interested in getting involved in. They called themselves the Ranger Program. They were working with Mosaic, which is Mosaic now is Timber West as well. So the logging companies, and they were trying to work out that sort of an arrangement. But there was just lots of insurance issues, and I ended up not following through, so I don't know if it ever came to fruit, but I remember going to Mosaic to have meetings with the top security, and he was explaining why gates and why the program, and you know, his thoughts were like, you know, we all want people to have access, but it's easy for you to say we deserve access when we're the one that pay for any damages and stuff that happen out there, because it's just what the fuck, man? Just kidding. They're just leasing. It's they don't own it. It's Crown land. They have a contract or a lease, right? I believe that's how it works. So.
Well, I think there's also a lot of controversy, like, don't hate me for saying it, but the tree hugger group, they're an outrage because, like, if you actually do take a dirt bike out into some of these places you can't normally get to and you see the logging they've done, like, they're violating code after code after code. Like, they're logging right up to riverbeds and they're logging right up to lake shores. They've got trees that have fallen in the lakes and rivers. They've got crossings that cross right through creeks and rivers that they are not allowed to do. So they don't want people seeing that because with today's, well, Facebook, you name it, like,
it's out there real quick.
It's out there and it's gonna hit everything.
Yeah, I do know that they are, and they're logging trees of size. I think that they don't have permission to log. Like, there's a certain certain age or certain areas that you're not supposed to, but then you go in. I've never been in and seen these, but I've seen the before and after photos of these huge trees. It's all logged around it.
Yep.
So obviously they came by and logged like a year earlier or whatever. And then you come back a year later and that huge tree's been logged. And it's like, do we need to take those big ones out? Like, I mean, like trees are a reusable resource because we plant, and if it's done correctly, could be managed. But then you go out there and you see behind them like the oil containers that they've left behind, or
old helipads that have been left behind with all the old fuel drums still sitting there. Like, my biggest kicker is when you, like you were just saying, like, if they don't have permissions to get in areas that they want to get into. So like the Carmena Valley, there was all that controversy years ago. So what does the logging companies do? They just clear cut everything around the Carmena Valley to let that wind just blow right in there and destroy it.
Or like the runoff. So when you log everything around a group of trees, and the trees suck the soil up.
Yep.
Or the water from the soil, and then it doesn't erode down the mountain and cause mudslides. But if they can log around it, if they can't get to the lower trees, they just log around it, and then that whole bank slides down, and then the trees are down, they go in and clean it up.
Yeah, it's dead anyways. Yeah. So
it's a big controversy.
There's lots of controversies about it, but I look at it as, don't get me wrong, I don't have any rights to be there as much as any other people, but I'm not one of those people. Like, I don't go and vandalize stuff. I don't even hunt. I just go out there to enjoy my day and take my dog for a walk and have a little bit of a fire in the winter when it's nice and snowy and cold out there. Like, summertime, I'm not going to be stupid and, light a fire, or apparently, announce what's going on in California?
Is that California or the Washington one? The gender reveal.
Gender reveal.
Yeah, like, someone told me they're getting stick with like an $8 million bill or something like that.
It could be. Yeah.
Did you see that those people at the lake that they weren't gonna go in and save, according to the article I read? So there was these people, they were at like some sort of park, and the fire was like 71 kilometers away, but by the end of the day it was right on them, and they couldn't get out. And whoever manages the rescues of people in those sort of fire situations, according to the article that I read online, they refused to go help those people. They were telling them to go stand in the lake. And so these two, I don't know where they were from, I'm assuming some military base, they took the helicopters, and when they were flying in to save these 200 people with these helicopters, they were being radioed. According to this article, they were being radioed to turn back, that it was too dangerous for them to fly in. And it was a dangerous flying, because it's like chaos. When fire that bad happens during the day, it's like night, because it's all clouded over, and all you see is the fire and the embers, and it's like walking on hell. And they fly in and they save these 200 people. Crazy, if the article is accurate, that they thought it would be okay to leave families and people out there to suffer the consequences of that.
Yeah, I think if you're a pilot, well, I guess if it's somebody else's helicopter, you don't get to make that call.
Yeah, it was U.S. government helicopters.
I guess if you had your own helicopters or whatever, and it should be up to the pilot's call to make. But I guess when you're looking at flying other people's helicopters and other people's equipment, it's their call in the end. But
sucky to be those people, man.
Knowing what we know, living in a forest, they usually do give you a pretty good heads up when a fire is approaching, and they usually do an evac. But
those people should have known. They thought 71 kilometers was a good distance, but if a big fire catches a good wind, it covers ground fast.
You can cover that in like a couple hours.
Yeah, just burn it all down. So, and people aren't supposed to really be doing that stuff. So, Mr. Popular.
No, it's just in and out of service.
Oh, in and out of service. We do not have very good service here. So, only really I have my Wi-Fi, but it's nice not having people be able to get a hold of you all the time.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
We just, as you know, bought and sold. So we're living in a newer house. It's nice. I can't complain about the house at all. It's a beautiful house. But my neighbors. I could literally knock on their window pretty much from where we're
really?
living. So it's coming out here. I would rather live in a house that's 50 years old, out on a nice little property, than live in a brand new home stuck with your neighbor knocking on, can I borrow toilet paper?
Well, we just rent this place here, and we've got just under 2 acres that's ours, which is actually connected to about 30 acres. So there's another farmhouse down here, and the house and a log cabin in the back with family members living in, people who own the property.
Yep.
We rent this. I think this is the original house. The well that we have is so old that it was dug by hand, and it's only 12 feet deep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's that old. Your phone, we're picking it up.
Shut up, phone.
It's all right. They probably won't hear it on the actual audio, but when this device here, I believe it is, picks up signals. This is the amp for the headphones.
Okay.
Gives you the ability to have control of your volume. So what made you decide to do a YouTube channel all of a sudden, bud? I thought that was
okay. Yeah. This is actually kind of a unique story. As you know me, I think the only thing I've ever had is Facebook. I've never had Instagram. I was never a big fan of being public. Like, me and my wife have always been kind of quiet, shy, private people. A year and a half now, 2 years, my daughter has been asking, Dad, I want a YouTube channel. Dad, I want a YouTube channel. And she's my oldest, and I'm like, well, we'll wait and see. Like, we don't believe in putting our lives out there, really. So then, of course, COVID happens. So we're at home. Like, there's, as all you know, like, you're stuck there. You can't really do anything. And finally, I just looked at my daughter, and I could see the passion in her eyes for it. 2 years of asking, can we do this? Can we do this? And finally, I looked at her, I'm like, I know nothing about it, but give me a couple months. Let me study. Let me do my research. Let me see what's in, what's out, and what I need to learn to make sure we're doing this. And it took me 2 months of kind of setting it all up, and then we decide what we're going to make our channel about, and it's just about family and about family challenges. So they love building slime, and they love playing hide and seek and tag and all this stuff. So we're like, well, we can set challenges, and we can do that. As you know from past, probably with me, I love going and doing things and exploring. And so that was the other part of our channel, was we're going to hit up destinations, and we're going to kind of just film challenges and do that kind of thing. So
it's pretty sweet. I like it.
And then we got a dog, Patch, so we have to add him in there too.
Your dog looks awesome. I can't wait to get him when he gets his shots in here.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but he's a very little puppy, and
or you got the little teeth scratches, when you guys roughhouse. Yeah. I remember when Duke was like losing his teeth. I used to take Duke to work with me when I was cleaning schools, but now with COVID, we're not really allowed to do that. So he's got a little more energy. But he used to do that to me too. We used to play wrestle, scratch you up a little bit, almost like a cat when you wrestle with a cat and you get some scratches. Duke now, he's big and he's solid. He's like really lean, but man, is he like, he's strong.
Oh no, you can feel it in him.
Yeah, he's but he, when we first got him, he slept in this shop always.
Yep.
All winter I had a heat light in for him, and now I've restored the chicken coop, and he's got his own room in the chicken coop, and he sleeps out there. He's never been in a house since he was 8 weeks home. He'll always be a fully outside operational dog. And when he was younger last year in the winter, there was some cold days we actually tried to bring him inside, and he wouldn't have it.
That's nerves, because he's never experienced it, right?
No, it's probably too much, man. His body's just adapted, but I think that's given him some thick skin. Like, you pat him, it's like patting a horse. It's like thick skin. You're just like, holy cow.
My thoughts is, how's your dog been with all the smoke? like last 2 days, my dog has been a little bit agitated. Like, kind of, you could see he's a little bit stressed.
I don't think he's been agitated. He's just been kind of sleeping more. You know, the oxygen isn't as good and stuff like that, you know. So he just kind of lays around and sleeps. And he's just a little bit more active in the evening. The cool air pushes it away a little bit. So, but he, you know, he's been fine. And we've got the goats out there, and you can tell they're kind of a little more sluggish and stuff like that. And the chickens don't seem to notice it.
They're chickens.
They're chickens, yeah.
No, it's weird. Like, even, like, I noticed myself even off. Like, when you look out the window, you're kind of like, Like, you want to go do something, but you're like,
well,
don't really want to.
we don't take our kids out in it when it's thick. When it gets in the high ratings, we're like, it's just not worth it, like, for them to have something affect them in some way, like, because it's not their call. When you got little kids like my kids' age, they don't know the difference. So I have to make a call, and it's struggle versus like getting them out to burn out their energy and experience the outdoors every day that they can. Versus like, man, it's hard to even breathe out there. We all had migraines even in the house. Like, we went outside. I went to go get my hunting tags and pick up. I'm gonna get my PAL, so I picked up the book to study up on. And when we were only out for like an hour and a half, we all had migraines when we were done. Like, by the time we got home, just from being out in the smoke. And
well, one thing you could say, like, where we live, we're low elevation, and you smell it and you see it, but you can still kind of move around, and you're not really getting a full effect of it.
Yeah, if we were like higher, well, when we left here earlier today at about 2, we could see Prevost when we drove by. On our way back at about 3:30, we couldn't even see Prevost along the highway. It was so thick.
Well, when we were in Ladysmith, it was not too bad.
You didn't notice it in the video at all?
No.
You know, when you guys were along, you couldn't tell.
It was like being in the. I always think about it when you're in the woods, anyways. Like, the trees kind of hold back a bit of it.
They hold it on top or whatever.
But where we were, it was actually kind of pleasant. Like, it's the last 3 days of breathing in all this smoke and then going to this place. It was kind of nice.
It's funny because out that way is where the junkyard caught on fire and all the tires were burning. I was on my way to work, and you could just see the bellows of black smoke because tires just burn hot, man. And vehicles, like, all that metal and stuff, it was the gnarliest smoke, man. Like, just this black, dark grossness, and you're just like, oh. And it would hit like an area in the sky and then zoom out, so you'd have this big like mushroom cloud effect, and then you could see it spread. Like, it was like you'd spill dye on a piece of paper and how it spreads through the paper. It was like that in the sky.
I guess I haven't really had time to investigate it yet. Hey, well, about what actually caused it,
I'm not sure.
Me neither.
I have a buddy, Jason, who's in the Chemainus Fire Force, and he just posted something about it today, but I didn't read it, so I don't know if it's just saying like it's out under control and it's investigated, or if it's the actual story of what happened. But there was a lot of little fires around Vancouver Island, the Shawnigan Lake one, and that one, and a couple other small ones that happened over like this last long weekend. So
I'm actually amazed. Like, growing up on the island, I'm an island boy, been here for almost 40 years. Never, ever, ever in my life did we ever have this smoke. Ever. Until the last 5 years. The last 5 years, it's gotten... There was all those, what was it, Alberta / northern BC fires that were happening a couple of years back.
Yeah, California fires blow up this way a lot. There was the Lizard Lake fire that was really bad here. Last year we didn't have any, but then this year we had a lot. There wasn't a single day I think they had.
We almost went a whole summer, though, where we didn't have a lot of, like, smoke. That just happened over the last couple days, but we've had a lot of fires.
And this spring was, or like this summer was really wet, and now we're just getting into like a late dry season. It's gotten dry, but we're like normally end of September moving into the middle of October is rainy season for us.
Well, this is where it blows my mind though. Like, me and my wife we were just talking about this on the way back from Ladysmith because of all the smoke we were seeing and stuff. When you think about it, when I grew up as a kid, every second commercial was only you can prevent forest fires
Yeah.
all summer long. And this year, I've been watching the hockey games because I'm a hockey fan, and not one. There is no commercials for it anymore.
No telling, no fires. Well, COVID kind of takes precedence. When you watch YouTube, that's where you get commercials now.
Yep.
And it's all about the COVID rules, which are hypocritical now that schools are open. Like out in public, it is like follow these rules. Don't have friends. Don't do this. Don't go there. Only send one person to go shopping. But everybody can go to work, so we'll put your kids back in school so you can go to work so that we can collect tax dollars.
My thoughts on it was, well, who pays their wages? Government. Who wants to pay them to do nothing? The government.
You're talking about like the teachers and stuff?
Yeah,
well, yeah, they not only that, but they want like the public who are using the fact that their kids are in school as a reason they can't go to work.
Yeah.
To go back to work. So if they put their kids in school, like if most families are
no, I get what you're saying.
Income,
you're
right?
You're hitting two birds with one stone when you do it.
You send the kids back to school, then the teachers have work to do, and then you can send mom and dad back to work, and then you can start collecting the tax dollars, because I'm sure they've noticed by now people not going back to work, the layoffs, they're not receiving like the taxes that they receive off everyone's paychecks as much,
Yep.
But then they're putting out all this money, so, what are they doing? Well, let's force it open. Force it open. Well, mandate that the schools are open and give people no choice. It's either work or you don't make any money, and the government will give you no assistance no matter how scared or immune compromised you are. You know that the government has actually told doctors to not give people with health risks reason like COVID as a reason not to be at work. So they literally ask, if COVID wasn't happening, are you safe to go to work? The doctors, because they're not allowed to say they're at risk of COVID, so they cannot go to work. They can't say that anymore. Doctors are being told in BC to send people back to work. The government is forcing the workforce to go back, which I get. We need to have taxes to run our economy, but we also, who are we putting at risk?
Well, the people, but
the same people that pay the taxes.
Exactly. And then you got these guys in offices that are able to keep their distances and stuff, but then you have these people that have jobs where you're dealing with people all day long, face to face.
It's pretty funny to see them tell teachers that they need to go back to work and that it's safe for them to go back to work when them themselves will not go into work. They only work from home. Even all their like these big government online meetings and stuff. It's like, why don't you mandate yourself back into the office then? Like, But that being said, like there's a high population of people moving to homeschooling your kids. You aren't in the public system. So what is it like for your kids? You weren't in the public school system.
Well, it's kind of complicated in like my aspect, just because I've got mixed feelings. Like, do I think, on one hand, I think my kids should go back to school only on their own health, like their mental health. Like they need to see their friends, and they need to socialize, and they need to be able to do this stuff.
And that's a big part of learning for kids, is being around other people. How are they going to function in a society full of people if they're not around people?
And on the other hand, I'm thinking, well, I'm putting them also at risk with COVID and all the stuff that's potentially out there with this, and their lives could be at risk. So I'm sitting there, I'm kind of got mixed feelings, because you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, is my aspect on it. I feel mental health is something that is everything in life. It helps you grow, it helps you learn, it helps you love, it helps you be happy.
If you're mentally sick, you will show it physically. You become physically sick. And vice versa too. Like if you're physically sick for so long, you get mentally sick.
Well, I don't know about you, but when this all first started, when we were on lockdown, how did you feel? I know how I felt. Like I was still going to work, but at the same time, I remember at about 4 weeks in, I'm sitting there with my wife, and we're not even talking to each other.
What about?
About anything.
Oh,
and I looked over at her, and then we started talking. I'm like, I think it's just because there's nothing really to talk about. Like, we're going to work and we're coming home, and we kept our kids at grandma's because we didn't want to put any of them at risk, or grandma at risk, or grandpa at risk, because we had been told that it was hitting seniors a lot harder, and if we brought it home and they go over to the grandparents and they could be carriers and they could get sick. So there was a good month. We didn't see them either. So that's what I mean, because
that's tough.
We'd come home and it was literally just me and her.
Yeah. And
we both have the same job, so you can only talk about your job for so long before you're just ready to pull your hair out. So yeah, they just got to a point where we looked at each other and like, okay, enough's enough. We need to get them back home. We keep ourselves safe. Like, we're washing our hands. We're doing all the steps. We come home. We have our showers right away. Take our uniforms off. Throw them in the laundry immediately. Wash.
Yeah, I do that too. So I come home. I don't get home till 11. I come out to the back door here. I disrobe. Go in. Shower right away. My kids are already in bed by that time, so that's nice. And then in my work environment, I work solo, and by 5 o'clock into my shift, so I start at 3. And by 5, I'm all by myself. So I'm pretty lucky. I've got it. And through all of the COVID shutdown, I did not miss a single day of work because of COVID.
Me neither.
And my life here didn't change because on this property, we built the garden, we built the goat pen, we bought goats, we got chickens. We planted our garden. During that time, I could have used more time off. I was like, man, I wish COVID would come around my place so I could be home and get some stuff done. For me, the only thing that changed with my life is that my kids have not been into a person's home except for their grandparents or into a store since it started for months and months. And we used to take them into everything. When they were really bored on a rainy day, we would take them to Winners or just to go run crazy there. And now it's, my kids are going to see the effects of not going somewhere. My daughter, my youngest, who was born during the peak of COVID, that real shut down, don't go. Yeah. We went to the hospital. It was real crazy experience just doing that. She's never been anywhere. She's never seen other kids. She's never, and it's wow, how different is she going to be than the other two kids?
With anxieties and stuff towards that as you grow older?
I'm really going to take note on her behavior to see if there is something different. This will be a little documentary about that. I'll just, maybe there's no side effects because she's so young.
Maybe.
She's only 5 months old now, so. I
think about it and I'm just going, I've seen just changes in my kids.
Your kids are at a very social age. They're my kids. It's none of them are even in school yet. So this is a very normal thing to maybe not see as many people. But your kids are all in school and at that age where interaction is so important.
And they've got all their friends and they love going to school. Well, my youngest doesn't. She's kind of like me. But my oldest and my middle, they love school. They love the learning and they love to hang out with their friends and they like that social aspects of stuff, right? And then I got my youngest who's like me. She's not social at all.
Your kids are pretty awesome.
She's pretty cute though, and she gets along with everybody, but man, she likes to pick fights.
Well, you gotta have one of those.
She's good at that.
All right, buddy, this has been almost an hour, so let's wrap her up here. Thanks for coming out to just join me. I was going to do it solo, but I thought, there's got to be someone else sit in and talk to me. So I'm glad we did it. We should do this again, be regular on the show here. Tell people where they can find your YouTube channel.
My YouTube channel is just the Fowlers. Look us up. Yeah. We go lots of places and we have lots of fun.
Very family friendly, and I'll snag the link offline and I'll throw it in the description.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.